Alright guys, welcome back to part 4 of my 1995 Honda XL250 degree restoration. In today's video we're going to be stripping the bike down to a bare frame and hopefully get it ready to paint, maybe even paint it. We'll just see how we go. But yeah, we'll just get straight into it and start pulling stuff off. Alright, so we've got a massive pile of parts on the ground. We've just dropped the motor out now and the frame's looking really bare. So all we need to do now is rip the rest of these wires and everything off for now, and then pull the back wheel up and sort of hang it off the engine crane that we've got or something like that, and then get into preparing it for paint. I'm thinking at the moment I might leave this on and all the speedo and all that, but we'll see how we go and see what really needs to be painted once we've got all the wires out, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so the bike is basically bare down to the frame now. There's a few little things on the frame that I've got to take off when I lift up the back wheel, but for now that's pretty good, and that should be pretty good to clean up and prepare ready for paint. And I've just got an absolute mess of parts on the ground here that I need to sort out before I do anything else. So I'll clean that up, organise that, and then I'll see you guys then. Alright, so I'm getting the exhaust ready to paint up and everything, but the first step is I have to re-tap these little studs. Now I've managed to drill this one out, but this one here, it doesn't want to drill, so I'm going to cut it off with the grinder and then weld a new nut on there. Got that ground off. Now we're just going to tap that hole so I can mount the heat guard, and then I can get where I need to weld the nut on more precise. Alright, so it's in the right spot and everything lines up, so I'm going to weld this on as best I can. I'd show you the weld arc and everything, except I'm not sure how it would go with the camera and the sensor. It might wreck it. But yeah, so I'm just going to get in and weld it right now. Well, I'm definitely no boiler maker, but that's not coming off anytime soon. So I'm just going to get the grinder onto it and smooth it out a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, so now with the muffler piece of the exhaust, there's a bit of snapped off exhaust mount here. Now, I'm pretty sure that's normally just a big hole in metal, so I'll probably just weld a washer on here and call that good. And this mount here, it's snapped off, but I do have the bit that's snapped off, so I'll just clean both the surfaces up and just weld them in place, and then should be sweet. And then clean this one up and get ready to paint it with the other one. Alright, so I've got these stripped of paint, and anyway, I've wiped them down with some ISO, and now they're ready to be hung up and painted, so we'll get on that right now. Alright, so it's a new day. I've done one coat of paint on these exhausts, but as you can see, some of it's come up a bit white for some reason, so I'm not sure. It was getting dark and late, so I'd say there's a bit too much moisture in the air and it's picked that up. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to give it a quick light sand, wipe it down with some shellite or something like that, and then I'll get on and finish painting it. Alright, so I've got the gurney out. I'm just going to use it to clean up the frame best I can really quickly, and then later on I'll clean up the frame in some finer detail with brush and rag and stuff like that. Alright, so I've got the carby out of the bike. Now this carby's got an issue where if you leave the tap on for the fuel, it'll overflow and it'll start coming out of the overflow of the bowl. So I'm hoping it is just either the float or the needle that needs replacing. And I went online and I've ordered a new float and needle. So if I slap that in, hopefully that should solve my issues, and it'll just go back together and work, but we won't know if it works until the bike's all back together. Alright, so we've managed to get the bowl off of the carby. The bowl itself is actually not too bad. There's a little bit of dirt and gunk in there, but that should clean out pretty Yeah, so anyway, hopefully if we replace this orange thing here and then the needle in behind there, can't really see it yet, but yeah, if we replace that with what I've got, hopefully that is all I need to do to fix my overfueling issue. But yeah, I'll crack on and see what happens. New needle and float. Well, as you can see, this is the old needle, and anyway, the edges on it seem a little bit worn, and the rubber bit itself is gone a bit hard compared to the new one, except we have an issue. Our new one is on the left. It is far too big, so that is quite annoying, but the float, I believe, from what I can tell between the two, I've got the same float, so I'll replace the float and put the old needle in, and hopefully that'll solve my issue. If not, it is what it is. I'll have to pull the carby back out and get the right needle. But yeah, not much I can do about it now. So I'm no expert on carbies, but the needle goes in and sits in there, and when the float's in there, it pivots up and down depending on the level of fuel in there, and when the float is all the way up in there, it pushes that needle and closes the fuel valve shut, and then no more fuel can get in. And anyway, there must be an issue with mine where fuel is getting past this little needle, which is a bit of a pain, but hopefully just pulling it out, maybe there was a bit of dirt in the way. I'll give this a clean and that a clean before I put it all back together, but hopefully that is something to do with my issue, but we'll find out. Well, that is the float replaced in the carby. I was hoping that it would be the float and needle, but I mean, it's back together anyway. Only thing we can do now is put it on the bike once the bike's finished and give it a go and see what happens. But when I clean up the motor to make the motor look nice, I'll give this carby a clean because it's pretty dirty on the outside, like everything on the bike. But anyway, that's hopefully fixed our problem. But anyway, alright, time to clean the motor has now come. I'm not going to video or time lapse anything just because it's going to take me so long to do, but I'm just going to use a wire brush and some shellite or terps or something like that, and then that should hopefully clean it up pretty nicely for me. But yeah, anyway, here's a bit of a before. It's pretty crusty and oxidized in some areas, but hopefully it should come up pretty good once I'm done. It's cleaning up pretty nicely. just got to spend a lot longer doing this, a few hours maybe, and then hopefully the whole engine will look like that. Engine is done after many hours of scrubbing with a brush. Ended up using some chemicals, some alloy cleaner, and just different types of degreaser to try and make it a bit easier, which it sort of worked. But yeah, anyway, I'll just show you the motor now. So as you can see, that's 100 times better. Still not perfect, but oh well. For now, that's good enough. That's probably all for today's video, so thanks for watching, guys. Next time, hopefully the frame will be getting sanded and painted, but we'll just have to wait and see for that one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.